Hi everyone, how's it going? I hope you all are well and blessed. I am super very excited to be part of Destination Varsity again, to be delivering this piece of information that I'm about to share with you today. Yeah, it's such a privilege, and again, very grateful. Thank you. My name is Sanele Mdlalose. For those of you who don't know me, um, I will share a bit about myself, particularly where I work currently and what I do at work. And I'll share a little bit about um, the structure and the roadmap to getting to where I am, but also share, I guess, the plan ultimately where I want to end up and what I would eventually qualify as. I'll also share what I do outside of work, obviously, just to not create the impression that I'm not a human being who's just consistently working and studying. And, I also have, a life side of me, so I will share that. The title of the presentation today is my actuarial journey so far. I rarely share this about myself, especially to everyone. That's one of the enigmas about what I do, basically who I am and where I currently am right now. Okay, so I'm going to talk a bit about my background. I'll also define what an actuary is. I'll also share a bit about the minimum requirements for being admitted to doing an undergrad. Um, I'll also kind of differentiate the key features of what actuarial science is and what quantitative finance is. And these are two disciplines that are treated pretty much the same, but I'll explain what the differences are. And I'll also explain what are exemptions and what are board exams. Along with that, there's also a qualification structure that I'll take you through, as many of you may be curious as to what the structure is. Outside of being at Varsity. Okay, there's also graduation that I'll also share a bit about it. It's not much, but have a few photos of myself at graduation. But before we get there, there's a lot of things I need to share before it. And I'll also talk about my work life, also talk about my life outside of work. As I said, I'm a human being. And I will also talk about, most importantly, the skills that you need to master in order to be prepared to be in this industry or in the career path that I'm on. And then I'll just follow up with, close off with my concluding remarks on, I've just quoted a couple of people there, hoping to motivate you. Okay, so who is Sanele? Background: it's this cutie looking young boy there, infamous for his fade. This is my matric year, 2013. It's been a long time. Yeah, I know. I know this photo's a bit crusty, but I can't really say much about it. But this was me in matric, just before finals. This was me being handed over an ambassador's award, or the Dux Award as you may know it, by my school headmaster. Yeah, a lot of people were not happy with me on this day, because I scooped out a lot of awards. But I was very surprised because I wasn't expecting to do that. Just to humbly say so. I think after that, this is me just before the results were announced in January. I was in Joburg. I was invited by the Department of Basic Education as one of the students that were fortunate enough to have scored highly in the country. And I think this was the photo immediately after the ceremony that NG Musecha would annually host for high flyers in the country. And this is ETV trying to make statements and get me to be interviewed. Then what happened after this is I then went to UCT and I wanted to explore more about what an actuary is and how I can become one. So I will share a bit about that now. So what is an actuary? Well, an actuary is someone who understands risk at many levels. Particularly, an actuary is a professional who uses mathematics, statistics, and financial knowledge to assess and manage risks. So there's lots of risks, um, ranging from mortality risk, disability risk. Um, there's also a risk of being in a car accident. There's a risk of being exposed to natural disasters. There's a risk of operational inefficiencies in a company. There's a risk of fraud in a company. That's also part of operational risk. But there's also financial risk that we also aim to try and understand, mostly on the insurance side and banking spaces. Yeah. They also play a crucial role in the insurance and financial industries, helping organizations make informed decisions about pricing insurance policies, managing investments, and planning for the future. So, on top of us being able to price insurance contracts or policies, as you may call it, we also assist in setting aside something called a reserve or reserves. Reserves are just basically money that's set aside or assets that a company, an insurance company, would set aside so that they can meet their future claims or future liabilities as they arise. So there's a claim when someone um, there's a liability for the insurance company when someone claims on their insurance policy. So the company must plan accordingly so that whenever that happens, they have enough assets to meet those liabilities. So that's also what we do. But there's also a bit about how we set these reserves aside, and that's then part of the investment strategies. We also understand, where that money can be invested, and particularly, we understand the different asset classes that money can be invested in, and then find an optimum strategy that will maximize either the return or that will maximize the security for the company so that the company doesn't go broke. Okay, so actuaries also analyze data and develop models to predict the likelihood of certain events happening. So, on the side of analyzing data, actuaries are called maestros in many fields, um, in terms of understanding emerging topics like machine learning, data science, algorithmic trading, all those kind of things. Actuaries are they always aim to be at the forefront of every technological advances or any way that would assist in making all the processes a little bit easier and a bit more faster to perform. I know that we deal with copious amounts of data, especially with big insurance companies, global insurance companies. They would accumulate data for various geographies and various risk profiles. So what we do is we organize this data and then we kind of have smart methods right now that we can employ, like machine learning, that would help us deal with the data and um, that would also help us use the data much more efficiently um, than we would if maybe, for example, we would have put the data in Excel. Yeah, so that's one of the main things that an actuary is mostly valued for. Um, so, likelihood of certain events. These events are like accidents, your illnesses, your natural disasters. I didn't include any more because there's a lot. So This is just the fundamental three. More importantly, mortality, which is what we are famously known for in the industry, that we are known to be able to um, manipulate data in such a way that we can also predict life expectancy, we can also predict probabilities of dying and probabilities of survival, and then we can factor all that information into pricing insurance policies or retirement policies like annuities and all those kind of things. Okay, another thing they can do, there's a lot, as I said. They can also use predictions to determine the proper insurance premiums or create strategies for financial planning and risk management. So, this is just to sum up everything that I just said above in this one particular point. So then, by doing so, we help insurance companies and individuals protect themselves against the potential financial losses, because with risk there comes the potential for a financial loss, to ensure that the long-term sustainability of insurance products, to ensure there's long-term sustainability of insurance products and financial plans. There's also an element of being an actuary that also would be involved in performing for a financial plan. One, by identifying the needs. Two, by then also pointing out all the risks that could compromise your financial future situation, and then we then reserve accordingly by taking into account all those kind of risks that could come into play. Okay, so I've put a little nice picture there on the right that would sort of give you a high level view of the concept of risk and how an actuary would have all these tasks and things to do around the concept of risks. They analyze risk, they strategize around risk, they plan around risk, and they understand the process of risk and how it could impact the companies, and they assess this risk by using risk management strategies, working with managers and CFOs or chartered risk actuaries, all of those kind of things. And then they control risk by their understanding of risk, then they control risk, and then they evaluate risk, and then they review all these processes. It's sort of like a cycle. There is a cycle, and we call that a cycle, an actuarial control cycle, and that's one of the things that are very, very crucial and key in actuarial science. Okay, this is also another picture that would also give a very high level brief sort of definition of what an actuary is. Okay, so then you may ask yourself, what are the minimum admission requirements to doing an undergrad for an actuarial science degree? Well, I went to UCT. I am representing right now. So I'm only going to talk about UCT. You can, however, go to Google and search for your minimum requirements for other institutions. In English, you're supposed to get 50%. If you're doing home language, first additional language 60%, and mathematics 80%. And then for the UCT requires that all applicants complete an NBT. There's two NBTs that you can write. There's the AQL and there's MAT. AQL split into two. There's the there's the academic literacy, there's quantitative literacy. So quantitative literacy is more like maths lit, and then academic literacy is then more like English, and then maths is maths. So for actuarial science, they require a minimum of intermediate level or intermediate result. So intermediate in this case, I just can't remember exactly, and don't punish me for this, I didn't do research again, I forgot. But I know that proficient is from 75% and above, and then immediate is less than 75% but greater than 65%. And then I guess there's the other category that I forgot. Apologies for this. But anyways, these are the minimum admission requirements for completing an actuarial science degree at UCT. And I've put a link so that you can visit the website and check out all of these things, and you could potentially also get to have answers to some of the questions that you may have that I did not cover answers for here. Okay, so then when you get to UCT, the actuarial science program is split into two. There's the mainstream actuarial science, and then there's the mainstream quantitative finance. So actuarial science and quantitative finance are treated as being the same, and why is this is the other one is focused on one part, and then the other is focused on two parts. So for example, actuarial science, you'd have guys that are working in an insurance industry, which would have an extensive understanding of liabilities. And liabilities are insurance contracts, mostly in insurance contracts, retirement benefits, employee benefits, pension schemes, what else? Your medical schemes. So an actuary or an actuarial science person would be mostly focused about that. Even the mathematics there is to cater for liability valuation and pricing. But then also actuarial science also exposes you to the asset side of things, and where you learn about different asset classes, your finance, your investments, all of those kind of things. The quantitative finance person focuses more on the assets, actually, only on assets. So then you would see that an actuarial science degree would then expose you to much more than a quantitative finance would. So that's one of the main differences there. I've included that focuses on both liabilities and assets. In terms of admission requirements, they're the same as quantitative finance. The first 2 years, the course structure is the same. You do the same modules, and then only in third year then you differ, because in third year you do like finance in quantitative finance, and then in actuarial science you do something called actuarial models and actuarial life contingencies, or actuarial mathematics as you call it. And then when all exams are done, you qualify as an actuary if you did actuarial science. For quantitative finance, on the other hand, you only focus on assets. Once graduated, you work in an investment bank, but you can also work at other companies that an actuary would usually work in. So it's not very restricted in terms of where you work after you graduate. It's just a matter of what you want to do at that time. And I know people that qualified or graduated with a quantitative finance degree, but then they rerouted back to the actuarial science world by doing board exams after they graduate, whilst they work, and then they finish those board exams, and then they actually qualify as actuaries. So it's very directly translatable. You can switch over to the other. That's the convenience that it caters for. The qualification structure follows that of a chartered financial analyst. You'd hear people talk about things like CFAs. CFA is called a chartered financial analyst, and mostly quantitative finance guys, or quants as we call them, then would usually take that route. Whereas an actuarial science graduates, they would immediately register to be part of the Actuarial Society of South Africa, which is also known as ASA with a double S. And then there's a qualification structure that I'll then share just now. So what are the exemptions, board exams, and what is the qualification structure to becoming an actuary? Well, as you'll see here, let me just maybe move my camera and just put it here. Okay. So you see here, there's the picture that I put on the right hand side. This is a roadmap to qualifying as an actuary. There's broadly, ultimately, there's two qualifications that you would be aiming to attain. The first one being the FASA, which is the traditional route, Fellow of Actuarials, Fellow of the Actuarial Society of South Africa, or Fellow of, yeah, sorry, my bad, sorry, I just had a moment of doubt there that I remembered it correctly. But a FASA is a fellow. So when someone is qualified, you call them a fellow actuary. And then fellow actuary of the Society of South Africa. Yes. That's what FASA means. And then Sarah is then the Chartered Enterprise Risk Actuary, and they've been kind enough to put that there. The other two designations or qualifications called TASA and AMASA, those are just, if you complete the orange section, you then qualify as a TASA. And that's a technical member or technical associate or technical member of the Actuarial Society of South Africa. So, a technical member of the Actuarial Society of South Africa is not yet an actuary, and they put a very big emphasis there that you're not supposed to call yourself an actuary then. You're just still a technical member. You just gotten your technical skills sorted out and cleared by the board. Now, if you complete the blue sections, or rather the light blue sections, you then qualify as an AMASA. And AMASA is the associate member of the Actuarial Society of South Africa. And then you can start calling yourself an actuary, and the board or the ASA allows us to call ourselves actuaries from that point on. Some people don't go and finish the designation or the qualification of being a fellow, and they just stop at being a MASA because maybe the money is good and they don't feel like there's a need to continue further with the studying and everything, because this is very daunting. And then there are guys that don't take the traditional route. This is a fairly new qualification area called Chartered Enterprise Risk Actuary. This person would be, once you get this certification, you are both a FASA and a SERA. And what you do is you're basically a guy who is involved in the overall enterprise risk management of the company. So you are overseeing the risk management policies, all the risk management strategies, the processes. You are the risk expert in that regard. So I'm not gonna further say much on it. I've put a link as well there just for you to access this qualification structure. But basically, a board exam is basically a set of board exams are a set of exams that a student would need to pass in order to be professionally recognized as an actuary. These are all the board exams that are there. And yeah, that's what a board exam is. And there's a total of 15. Now, I know that a lot of people have been like, well, when I count, this is not 15, it's more than 15. But I promise you, there's a new thing, well, not a new thing, but rather another skill set. You see these being the code N's. Those are normative skills. Those are skills that you do not go down and sit and write down. Like, you don't go and study for that and write an exam on it. What you do is you go attend workshops. They professionally guide you as to how to be a proper actuary. Put this back. How to be a proper actuary, how to be professional, how to carry yourself with integrity, legal, being business awareness, or legal awareness, or some of the regulations that you need to adhere to, all these kind of stuff that's on the side, but they're very crucial to your being or to your making as an actuary, because it's not only just writing exam and then passing and then you being qualified. No, you also have to prove other competencies in other areas that are outside the technical scope of the whole structure. Okay, so you get to a point where you choose two subjects, and then there's one subject right at the end, which is called a fellowship exam. You'll see that that structure then only counts. I think it even might be more, might be less than 15, but I think the 15 is the number that we usually go about saying, because there's also normative skills as well. So probably 12 written exams, and then 3 normative skills courses that you need to finish. And then you are qualified as an actuary. So it's quite a very heavy admin sort of process. Okay, the professional body that recognizes you for these actuarial, for these exemptions is called the Actuarial Society of South Africa, as I said earlier. Then you then ask yourself, what is an exemption? An exemption is basically a way of saying, hey, you've done this at university. There's no need for you to write it through ASA. So we're going to recognize you as having passed this. So we're exempting you from writing it. So you have passed this at previously before you join as a member of the Actuarial Society of South Africa. So it is a system of recognizing successfully completed board exams from university. And this system is employed by ASA. ASA is the one who provides this exemption sort of label for each exam that you could possibly write with them, that you don't have to write with them, because you've passed it, or you've met the minimum requirements to have been recognized as having passed it. To be exempted means you no longer need to write the exam through ASA. So that's what I mean. At university, you can get up to 10 exemptions. And this specifically applies to UCT. So you can get a maximum of 10 exemptions, so that when you go work, you don't have to do two more written exams or one more exam, and then the rest is just normative skills and just your work-based learning, and how basically they rate your work and correlate it with the professionalism standards that you need to meet, and then only then you qualify as an actuary. Okay, so I didn't know about this at Varsity, all the structures, but I think once I grounded myself down to learning more about it during university, then I already had a tangible goal to attain. So then, I kind of doubled down on the hard work, and I kind of went on with the grind. So fortunately, God has been good. I obtained my actuarial qualification back in 2018. Some of you may ask, oh, hold on, how long did you take? Well, I took 5 years to be at Varsity, and I would have shared in my previous presentation of basically how the road was for me at Varsity. And fortunately, I don't have to share that here. I'm just going to have to show you the pictures. This is me and my sister. She was graduating with an honors in atmospheric science. Genius. And this was me with my actuarial gown, commerce gown, whatever commerce gown. I'm gonna say there. And then you see Specifica. This was my first graduation. This is my second graduation. So Specifica was kind enough to bless me with his presence and come and commemorate with me a special day for me. And he was so excited. He couldn't stop hugging me. He couldn't stop coloring me. Anyways, super excited about this day. Sorry, Specifica, that it's only in black and white. This is the only photo I could find, and then this is me again on my second graduation. Okay, getting down to the crux of it. Now, how's work life look like for me? How does work life look like for me? Okay, so I started working at FMI. They currently call it Bidvest Life now. This company has been present since 1994-6, and they have been selling income protection insurance. If you don't know what that is, basically it's the kind of insurance that would sort of aim to be a replacement for your income. As the name says, income protection, it protects your income in the case when you become disabled and you're unable to work, or if you become critically ill and you're no longer able to work ever in your life permanently. So this kind of insurance then sort of aims to provide a replacement for what you would have earned as income. So yeah, that's the company I worked for, and I worked there for about 2 years and 8 months. Then in 2021, I moved to Johannesburg to seek, better opportunities and greener pastures. And then I worked at a company called RMA, ran mutual assurance for about a year. Didn't like it there, so I had to move to another company that is better. Hence, I'm here at Deloitte, currently working there now. I'm doing some consulting work for life insurance companies. That's my area of specialization. My job title currently is actuarial analyst. Well, I just found out this morning, and I don't want to spill the beans too soon, but damn it, I'm gonna say it. I've been promoted. I am going to be a senior analyst soon. So thank God for that. And it's been crazy. Moving around companies is also a deterrent from realizing your promotion as well. Oops, sorry. Went back a bit there. But yeah, so yeah, this is such a big thing for me, and I'm grateful that I've obtained this, and hopefully soon again I'll have another promotion, and yeah, keep climbing that corporate ladder. Okay, I'm still writing board exams. I'm left with 4 now. Please don't judge. So when I got out of Varsity, I had 6 exemptions, which is not bad. It's not bad at all. But what that means is that I passed the other subjects, but I did not get an actuarial pass. So there's something called an actuarial pass, and it's like a varsity pass. A varsity pass is like your 50%. An actuarial pass is if you get a 60% or more on a subject. So I got 6 out of 10 for that, and I was pretty much grateful, because not a lot of people do that. And then a lot of people get out with 1 exemption. Sometimes in the extreme case, no exemption at all. But you know, as you start working, you have to start somewhere, and not to look down upon my brothers and sisters who have gotten out of university with less exemptions than mine. Um, but it's also just to say that eventually we're all headed to the same direction. We're all headed to the same destination. And so the most important thing to realize is that everyone is in their own journey, and it might take longer for others, it might take shorter for others, but it does in no way that does not mean in any way that you are smarter than another person, or you are better than them. It does not mean that. It's just that some people take longer to realize their full potential. So bear that in mind. Um, do not at any point think that someone who still hasn't qualified, even after 5 years of working, is less smarter now or anything like that. But this is just to say, um, you know, people are faced with different circumstances. Some people go and work closer to home, like me, and then they realize the full effects of black tax and stuff like that. So we keep complaining and whining and want to move jobs, and then we don't allow ourselves enough time to develop professionally when we do that. But thankfully, I'm in a very stable job position right now. I'm happy where I am, and I'm good. The goal, it's always been the same: qualify as an actuary. Or what that looks like now, it means by end of next year, hopefully, I can qualify as an actuary. Finally, it's been a long time. I am aware of that, but I'm hoping to inspire you guys to be able to be very, very aware of all these things that I'm talking about um, much, much earlier, so that um, you can action your items quite easily and quite quickly, And if you want to qualify 2 years into working, that's also a great way to have been inspired by this. So yeah. Okay, so typical work day. As I said, I work at Deloitte. This is the only picture that looked clear or intentional that I could find. So I work 80% of the time at home, and this is as a result of the lockdown and COVID-19 regulations. So what happened is that Deloitte would have issued a new policy, work policy, where they allowed their employees to choose what percentage of time they want to work at the office versus the percentage of time they want to work from home. Some people choose 100% at home, some people choose 100% at the office, some people choose um, between. And I chose 80% of the time at home simply because I don't like going to the office very much often. It's costly, sometimes you have to factor in the price of fuel. Sometimes you don't want to be socializing. I'm not a very social person when I'm trying to work because I need to focus. Though I am a very social person, so I try and have a bit of heart to have conversations with people at the office when I'm at the office. So I only go to the office when it's compulsory, and I like meeting with my colleagues, for coffee catch-ups. We just see each other at the office and like, hi, how are you doing? How's life? Blah blah blah, and yeah, those kind of. They also talk about life problems. But also, my days are like meeting with clients, and this is just virtual meetings nowadays because you don't like physically go to the clients as often as you would prior to COVID. So you meet clients via Teams or via Zoom, whichever the platform is. Um, and then the clients, since Deloitte is a consulting company, so then um, we deal with clients. Clients are companies themselves. So I can work with different companies at the same time. So I can work with Momentum, I can work with Discovery, I can work with Hollard, and so on. Manipulating Excel spreadsheets. So we would perform high level calculations. It's easier to do it in Excel first. So we use a lot of spreadsheets, but we can also do, instead of being technical, sometimes we look at numbers and then we have something called actuarial judgments, and this is something called it's like a sixth sense for actuarial people. Um, the ability to look at numbers and be like, this doesn't make sense, or this makes sense, or maybe let's increase this by this percentage or something like that. Um, it's a very valuable quality of actuaries, and it takes years to perfect. I'm still on my way of learning how to master that too. So we also give actuarial advice to clients, um, and then sometimes we use computer programming, like your R, your Python, or SAS. There's many languages nowadays, so I can't really exhaust the list, but there's various languages that we use. More importantly, for actuarial modeling, we use a software called Profit. Uh, yeah, if you search Profit on Google, you won't find anything. And I don't know, I think they've gotten so good with privatizing profits that even using it, you need a license, you need to pay a lot of money to even train people to learn profits. So I'm currently using it for my current projects. Um, so we do things like audits. Um, Sometimes we do valuations, we do pricing, um, we do um, implementation of insurance standards. Like there's a standard called IFRS 17 right now. So I urge you guys that are doing material science right now to read up on IFRS 17 because that's the most important topic going on in the industry. And then, because I'm in a consulting company, I have to fill out timesheets to account for all the time that I've spent in a client. Okay. Cool. Life outside of work. I feel like I've been talking for a very long time. Hopefully, I can wrap up soon. This is me on the left. I'm wearing a go-karting hat. I was getting ready to go do go-karting. At the top there, this is me and my work colleagues, Deloitte colleagues. Some of these people are from back at home. There's two people are from Gamashula, and I'm not gonna just go over who it is, but these are my friends at work. Okay, so this is me and my high school students right now. These kids, two of these kids are in matric, and this is the mathematics teacher. I was assigned to actually I kind of volunteered to come and deliver a maths lesson on this day. Unfortunately, there were only these two students that showed up, and I ended up providing some life guidance and advice, and basically delivered this talk to them personally, and they've had a first-hand experience with me talking to them directly. And then this is me in doing a 10K marathon earlier on this year with my friend, work friend. Actually, he's my friend now. We started working together, but then we don't work together anymore. He was working at another company, and I'm working at another company. He's soon about to get married. Not to say that you can then start asking me when am I going to get married. I'm not going to disclose that information yet for my own privacy. So please, hope you can respect that and cut me some slack. And then this is me and my girlfriend. She's also still studying, and I was studying at the same time as her, and she's very keen on taking photos. And so this is one of the photos I could find to put in there. So what do? So on Tuesdays I play soccer with my work friends. I play tennis on Sundays with my friends, and I study for board exams, and I tutor mathematics and statistics and physical science part-time. When I'm not on the educational side of things, I do DJing, and I like to do go-karting. I always struggle to say this properly, but yeah, it's go-karting. And then once a month we go on a marathon with my friends. So far I've done two. They always go, but yeah, it's just one of those things that I hop on whenever I feel like it. Then I also like dining out with my girlfriend. It's one of a must do every month. But most importantly, most of the time I'm chilling indoors, sometimes even studying for exams. I feel like I really said that. Anyways. Okay, cool. Most importantly, what are the skills to master while you're still in varsity or even still in high school? Well, you would have guessed it by now. I would have mentioned computer programming in one of the things that I do at work. So if you learn how to code, or even if you're still studying, you can register to take a module or a course at the university on computer science. So you can learn programming. It's very valuable. I'm not going to say much when I end there. Financial modeling. First of all, I think you need to have background in accounting, economics, and then finance, so that you can understand financial modeling. So it's just a fancy way of saying using different equations all together to form a system that all works together to produce a certain set of results. So that's what a model would do. A model would combine different variables. Each variable would have an equation, and each equation would feed in from different inputs and different data sets, and it will produce results upon manipulation for different things that you desire. Okay. Excel spreadsheets. I encourage you to learn Excel. Excel is very crucial. Communications. Well, I'm doing a presentation right now. This is also part of communicating, so that's a valuable skill to learn how to do, especially if you are shy and you don't like to talk too much, you need to learn how to do it, because eventually you need to know how to talk to people when you work with them. Networking, socializing is also a good way of getting good in the industry and getting known in the industry. Critical thinking, well, what I mean here is, looking up YouTube videos on critical thinking, learning what critical thinking is and how valuable it is to help you being a professional. One of the examples of critical thinking is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is a very hot topic because as professionals, we need to be able to hold ourselves in high integrity, hold ourselves at a high integrity level in the way we communicate, in the way we do things, and the way we calculate results. They have to be they have to have integrity embedded in them, so that we are truthful in the facts that we produce, the numbers that we produce are not misleading, all those kind of things. But also we are free from biases and heuristics, stuff that you can learn from critical thinking. Okay, sorry, I'm doing this during a work hours, so forgive me if you hear some Teams messages coming through. Also, reading good books is a really crucial skill. I'm going to recommend a book right now. It's called Predictably Irrational by an author called Dan Ariely. Very interesting, so I recommend that you do that. Okay, concluding remarks. I'm going to share a couple of photos. This is me back when I just finished my trick, and this is me just recently with MJ, the fellow actuary, one of the people that helped me a lot in Varsity to become who I am right now. So here's my concluding remarks. So I'm going to share two quotes. One of them is from Pele, the famous soccer player. He says, "Success is no accident. It is hard work, perseverance, learning, studying, sacrifice, and most of all, love of what you are doing or learning to do." And I hope a lot of you can resonate with this quote. And this one. Friedrich Nietzsche was a philosopher, a German philosopher. And what he says is, "He who has a why to live for can bear almost any harm." And this is one of the most famous quotes for learning how to persevere through tough times, in your career development and in you building yourself as a young professional. Because it's not easy. It's tough, and it requires grit, hard work, and perseverance. And this quote kind of resonates with those key ideas that I'm talking about, or rather values or virtues, let me call them that. Anyways, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and I hope you learned a lot about what I do and hopefully what you someday will do and what you would like to do. I encourage you to research about what you want to do. If you're not sure what you want to do right now, I think it's a good time right now to spend some time on the internet. Instead of looking at Twitter, Facebook, all of that, go to Google, research what an actuary is, see if it's something that you can like, see if it's something you can do. There's a great need for actuaries. In fact, if I can share statistics, which I'm not going to put out there in this presentation, there's less than 5% of black people who are qualified as actuaries nowadays. And that's a very horrible statistic compared to the number of white people who are actuaries. So anyways, I'm going to end here. I hope that you stay encouraged and motivated. Hope to see you next time, hopefully. Thank you. Cheers. Bye.
100%, we work 100%. Destination Varsity. Destination is Varsity. We are going to Varsity. We are going to Varsity.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe to our channel.